And so if you did, I was just going to show you guys an example of
That's where I was going. I could go here.
you were going to go to Miami?
I can go here.
Really? Oh, so they have an MSW program, and this is what I was talking about. If you do advanced standing, here it is. So if you graduate with a psych degree like my dumbass did, there's nothing wrong with a psych degree, but if somebody told me to double major in social work and psych, I would have saved $15,000 in a whole year of grad school. Because that's everything you have to take to get an MSW. And what we do is offer a lot of these your senior year. So you get all that out of the way your senior year. Here, it's like your senior year is your first year of graduate school. So if you do that, um, here's the advanced standing degree of study. It's only 34 hours. That's all you have to take, and you get a master's degree. So that's the difference. When you graduate from an accredited college, you skip all of these highlighted in blue, pretty much, and then you just do these 34 hours. And for me to get MSW, I had to take 65 hours. It was all of this stuff. So, like, I think that's 22 classes. It was like 22, 66 hours. This one is only 34 hours. So you take half that. It's $700 per credit hour. So can anyone good at math to know if you take 30 less hours, how much it saves you? 30 times 700. I think it's $21,000. So you save 21,000 by going here at an accredited social work school, which starts with your application to the social work program, kind of like your sophomore year. It's when you're done with those first 5 classes your freshman year. So really any time your sophomore year, you can fill it out. And then you just meet with me and Nikita. I actually put it in one of your classes now as like a Thanksgiving assignment. So you all do it over Thanksgiving. Because it's just like, why do you want to be a social worker? What do you want to do with it? Have you taken these classes? Maybe a letter of reference, and that's it. So if that makes any sense, OSU also has one. Let me see if this is it. Oh yeah, OSU has the same, but they make you take 43 hours. Anybody a Columbus OSU native fan live there? Okay. It's a good school, but they make you take 43 hours instead of the 34 that you see over here at Miami. I was like, how? And that at 700 per hour is still an extra $6,300. So I'm like, I would go where you only have to take 34. In undergrad, you always have to take 120. That's standard across the state of Ohio. So every college you go to, it used to be 125 to 129, but we shifted it down to the minimum, which is 120. So that's 4 years at 15 hours every semester, or 3.5 at like 18 hours a semester. So if you want to graduate early, you just do 18, 18, 18, 18. It's the same price for 18 as it is for 12 hours, I think. So if you're full time, anybody know what tuition is right off the top of your head? You remember?
And it's like 10,000 a semester.
Is that about so it's 20,000 a year?
Yeah.
School has gotten so expensive. Like we paid 3,000 a semester for my master's. But rent was, well, we went through all this last time. So rent was like 300 a month. You buy a car for $500 and it ran for 100,000 miles. um, now I sound like one of them old timers that used to tell me all that crap, and I'd be like, shut the hell up. So, any questions about anything?
No, I need to start your assignment. Your new assignment.
That's fine. Luckily, there's still time about the code of ethics, because we were halfway through this code of ethics PowerPoint too. Anybody find a code of ethic that they vibe with? They're like, that makes perfect sense. Like confidentiality, like why do we keep our clients' info confidential and not go gossip to their family about it? Like, you know what your daughter said? She said you a bitch.
Mhm.
And they're like, huh? and then you start a fight between the family and ruin counseling in general. So you basically say, yeah, she's doing good. She's working well in counseling, and you don't say she called you a bitch. So does confidentiality one make sense to people?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that's a rough example, but sometimes I like the dramatic examples for attention. So yeah, the code of ethics, there's all of these. Oh, I got it way off. I can't zoom my camera. We also are starting a social work honor society, by the way. So that's another thing that is new. We have the social work club, social work honor society, and just different things you can do that would also help you get into graduate school. So look for those your sophomore and junior year if you want to. Any of you guys in the honors program, like right now? Do they have, so how do you join that? Do you just say, hey, I want to take?
Not the end of this semester, but at the end of the academic.
Oh, so you can't join it as a freshman.
I mean, if you come from high school,
Oh, okay. So you're like high school GPA had to also be a 3.5. Okay. But it helps.
They was trying to get me to go, and I didn't want to do it. Like
The honors thing.
I feel like that's a whole bunch of extra for
I hear what you're
literally,
saying.
like for no reason.
So when people do the honors,
I love the tools, so shit. I don't think I'm moving from the tools. I don't know.
Yeah, like
I'm from the ghetto, so.
Oh, you're saying
shit,
2.0s?
Like the ghetto.
what's that?
foundation.
Oh.
Doing the tools.
Where is that?
The tools foundation.
They right there.
The ghetto. But some people ain't gonna like it.
Is it the one with the barber shop thing hung from it? Do you know what I'm talking about? It had the barber
Foundation
shop.
tools is where you eat at by the cat.
Oh.
It's on the left.
And it has like the mice and snakes and crap.
No, do the one.
You said I'm moving
They
now.
do got rats bad. On my mama. In the winter they got rats. Bad.
Mice.
Like,
It's mice.
Mice.
Right.
I want to go. No, I don't want to be there.
You just gotta box up your food.
We got
Like,
extra.
as long as you're not messy like me. So wait, you walked that way to get to it? Or is it?
No, foundation. Wait, where we at? It's that way.
No, it's this way. We got this one on this side of the building next to the trash cans. When you go, like, you keep straight right here. If you go out this building, you keep straight. You go turn left.
Okay.
Like right there.
So you can
Just go
stay
to where
that
you
the
eat
whole
at.
time?
Go to the
You stay
cat.
there your whole time if you
No,
want?
but shit, I'm gonna just become an RA so I can just live here forever because I love to.
So I
You like the ghetto? Is it really that ghetto though? Is it that bad? Like, is it all like hot
It makes
box?
me feel like I'm at home. Like, it really makes me feel like home.
Do they let you guys smoke in your dorms anymore? When I was in dorms, we could smoke. Because when you have 60, you're a junior too. So 30, you're a sophomore. 60, you're a junior. Anybody want to finish early in 3.5 years? You do 18, 18, 18,
I'm
18.
coming back in the summer.
You could do that. Summer works too, as long as you do like 2, I think. So, and add up to 120 hours.
And I feel like that'll work because I'm about to be. They say if I maintain my GPA, I could be a PA next year. That's what I want to do.
Do any of you all
Be
have
PA
a,
and become an RA. Yeah.
you have a resume yet? Like, you have to make one of these to get in? Okay. So I did, like I told you, here's my undergrad, and it did not help me out to get into social work graduate school. I would have finished this so much sooner, but it took me 3 years because I only had psychology and theology. Then I did an MA in theology and pastoral counseling, and then a doctorate in counseling. And then usually your resume, if you guys make these for,
We got too far. What's it called?
that's what I wondered, yeah. So it's like a page and a half, right? For your resume, you make it for a page and a half. Is it for English class or
No,
is it
for a
for
USS class.
University Successful Seminar?
But I ain't going there. I'm gonna just dress up. I ain't doing that resume shit.
So you just put where
You
you've
gotta
worked
dress up and bring in a resume.
or volunteer. How much do you dress up? Like, what do you wear?
You gotta wear like
Collared shirt?
So, not
I don't know his name.
Yeah, what
That's
are your
my nigga
teachers?
though, but I'm still not coming.
What's his name?
Oh, I'm about to go look.
Is
Oh,
it
look, you
Gormley?
was just texting me. I'm about to tell you the name. You was just texting me.
You gotta go to the Marauders Club.
So usually you do a page and a half of like all the jobs you've worked. Mine is hospice, Lighthouse, Ohio Mentor, Claremont Recovery Center. You would just have that page and a half. And that shows like where you've worked. I put where I taught. I did teach at Miami. Why were you going to go to Miami, by the way? That's interesting. Did they recruit good?
That was like, it was before I picked here.
Right.
It was just $1 going to Miami before I went here, because since you staying, I should have just went to Miami.
It's expensive though. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
25,000
That's
a year.
why my mama said she didn't want me to go because she wasn't paying that.
It's expensive.
So it was like,
Right. And they
stay is where I gotta go situate, I guess, the next situ staying, so.
they might not take the this is fun too. So you guys know your online classes that you have to take? The lady graded mine. I was trying to put it online and look how much red feedback she gave me. I got 10 pages of feedback. So it's like I turned in a paper. She's like, fix this and do that. And you need a master syllabi. And you need to complete a proof syllabus. And I was like, I'm good not putting it online. Because I hear online is harder than in person. What do you all think?
I think a lot easier to cheat.
Really? Is it that much easier?
Online is discouraging, like.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't let you when you were freshmen and sophomores, right?
When I was sophomore.
Like, well, you had to do it for coronavirus, probably.
Yeah, my sophomore year was online before it was 0 out of 10.
But I'm thinking here. You take online here?
Being online was turn.
I-
That's the best thing
I
they
probably-
could have did for us.
During
That's
COVID?
My grades was like.
Yeah, like I kept that shit. Then that's when I dropped out. That's the time I dropped out of school. So it was like online was just even better. Like I was hopping on the computer late night with my man to see what I was doing now.
I heard some people kept their Zoom rooms open the whole time, like they didn't know how to close them, so you could just jump in on the Zoom room, like, hey, what's up?
My math teacher used to be so mad. Everybody used to be asleep because he'd be like, you gotta come in and turn your camera off for credit. So everybody turn the camera on, go to sleep. Like the whole class would be in sleep.
Mm,
And at the end of class, like, y'all need to leave. My next class is about to join.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, get out of here, because we're doing the, oh, I stopped this just in time. Okay, I remembered we were halfway through on this. Let me see if I can find it again. No, we weren't that far. We were like here.
Yeah, so in and out through there.
The values assignment is called
What that is, I put on my calendar.
social work values assignment.
How many pages is it?
This one's just 3 minimum. You could do 4.
It's the just for me, like.
So what's the longest paper you guys have written?
2.
For real?
I've never.
No.
3 pages in my life.
Really?
I wrote 3. I done wrote 4, but that's it.
My English teacher made the same thing. It's okay, but a lot of people in my class did that.
They're used to like texting their papers or like,
No, we just
No, like,
in my AP class.
You never
last
wrote
year,
papers.
All we did was prepare for the AP test. That's it.
Ah,
I
okay.
didn't
Okay.
write nothing.
so writing is definitely key and important. If you guys, it's tough, but it's a skill.
I graduated with all my EMCs except 1. That was my man.
Do you all understand social work? Why social workers need to write? Because I hated it too. I'm not a good writer.
Why we gotta learn math is what I wanna know.
You have to see 20 clients a week. So if you saw one for a half an hour and you saw one for 45 minutes, you got to add one to 20. Writing? You only take one writing course in here. It's, or I'm sorry, one math course.
I about to say, I thought it was only one.
It says right here. Let's show you. Here's your check sheet. So if you're a social worker,
This math I'm in right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
there it is right there. You can take either mom. Is it called mom? Modern application of math? Ma'am?
That's what I'm
Hello.
in right now.
If I just gotta get a C or higher.
Right. Yeah. C would be good. If you got a D, I think it's okay too.
Well, I couldn't
Right.
go to college algebra. I like algebra. The stuff she got us doing in there, I don't.
They rate it as harder.
Water.
See, it's 1750. You guys are all in 1550?
Yeah, I mean, her
Or
class
17.
not hard. It's just like
got
it's
me
so
before,
hard
she
to
be
stay awake.
stupid.
When it's this hot, it's hard to stay awake anyway.
No, you in this
No.
class?
Like you would just be in like she would like
This class and my English
Okay,
class,
like-
two classes I cannot stay awake from. Like,
Is
y'all-
it Mickey
y'all
Mouse math?
crazy. Like y'all take everything.
Do they call it Mickey Mouse math?
What?
Like the easy math, they call them Mickey Mouse math for whatever reason. So you only need one. You obviously need these 2 writings, 1 history, 1 philosophy.
One history is crazy.
What's that? That's what it is right here. Philosophy is critical thinking.
I need to get that as a job.
And then your 9 social work classes.
why am
One
I
elective.
in an art history class? How is
Wait,
this
who got a
video?
history class?
Art should be down there.
Why we got a science
I got
class?
art history.
Oh, I don't got no history.
Why do I have an art history class? Like, how is this benefiting my profession? Like, that needs to
Oh,
be-
the math?
Huh?
The math or the,
Art history.
it considers it a liberal arts degree. So I at least know something that's like liberal. You gotta know something liberal to talk to your clients about. So we're considered a liberal arts college and you have to take 1 from every subject pretty much.
They should have gave me like
So say if you had
history.
I thought I gotta go above. Or you gotta do
You have 1 math.
So it's all year round?
I think it's only 3 hours. So there it is. If you took 6, you could, but you don't have to.
So like say if you take it this semester, pass it this semester, you have to take it, you know, our classes change each semester. You guys
Correct.
know the math?
You only need to do math 1550. Is that what you're taking right now?
yeah.
When you're done, you're done. Or you could
Okay.
take math 1750.
It's okay. I don't want to do it.
Right. I think my wife is taking this one right now here. Math 1550. Even though she took it at UC. Yeah. Yep.
Wait, so is we gonna have a different English teacher?
There is 2 Englishes. You see, you've got this and this. Those 2.
Wait, let me see which. I'm in.
And it looks like you can
Yeah.
pass with a D. Or transfer in that one was a transfer B. But on this side, you need all C's. So your major side, they want you to have all C's. And then one of the electives is child welfare. And then everybody in psychology and social work takes these 2 social courses, stats and research. So those are the last 2, like your senior year. And so is practice 1, 2, and 3. So you do practice and you have your field seminar. Some people do it with Dr. Hunt across the street.
Everybody loved her. It was like
I know.
They're like they give anybody other than Dr. Hunt transfer out, and I was like, dang.
For intro to social work.
No, for like when you be a
Oh, for practicum?
yeah, like and they said like your sophomore year, if you got anybody other than Dr. Hunt for social work, transfer out. Like,
Right.
They're like, you're not gonna like it. And I'm like, dang.
Some people have that thought and opinion. That's fine. You know,
I was
you're
like, I
allowed to
like
have
you.
your
I'm like, you ain't
favorites.
do nothing. I'm like, I like you.
I still have you guys do your 5 major papers, but they're spread out. So like every 2.5 weeks, you got your paper. You got a 2-pager, 3-pager, 4. The most you'll have is 5, and then you learn how to write as much as you do in English. So that's the gist of it. We almost finished up with the values in social work, but it was going over like some of the ethical principles. Like we have ethic of care, social caretaking role, ethic of autonomy. We actually believe like to empower our clients to take care of themselves. Like we don't want them always to be dependent on us. We don't want to always have to see them. At some point you want to graduate them and finish them. We have the ethic of power. So knowing like the power of social rights and social justice. There's a few slides of these. Ethics of change. So we have focused long-term change, sustainable and integrative change. We have the ethic of respect. So maybe a strategy of cultural naivete and discovering respect in people's capabilities and talents. Ethic of critical thinking to process informed action and thinking outside of the box. So as a social worker, we're bringing this stuff to our clients. And the last few slides on this, ethic of practice, which they call praxis. So we'll have like reflective discourse. We'll talk with them in a continuous loop. You have a dialogue. We're not just telling our clients what to do. And we do action, reflection, and then action. Like we go visit them, do a home visit, maybe make some suggestions of how they can make their life better or easier. Then have language and context influence meaning making in life. So you want them to have a meaningful life. That's why a lot of people go to church, because like they're making meaning of life. Like, why are we here? Why do you guys think we're even here in the first place? Is it to serve others? Is it to serve ourselves? Is it a little bit of both?
A little bit of.
I think so. I think you're allowed to have fun. Yeah, I think we're supposed to have fun, and that's an important part of life. So, also the last few down here, ethics of justice. So as a social worker, we try to give people access to services, rights to the due process of law. That's a weird phrase, but it's from our Constitution. Like, you can't just be arrested and thrown in jail. You have to go through due process of law. So that's like going into court, having either a judge or jury. And in other countries, you'll see it where you just get locked up, and if you stole something, they cut your hand off. Here, we're supposed to have a judge and jury. If you smoke weed in Tibet, they might put you in prison for a long time. It's different. There's ethic of contextual practice. So practice with context of physical and social environments, which means, again, we go visit people in their home school. We go visit people in their house and get to see them in their environments and make suggestions. We never tell somebody what to do, but we make suggestions with that power differential. And then we have inclusion. So like we collaborate with our clients. Whenever I make a treatment plan goal with like mom and kids, I try to include the mom and kids. I don't just like make goals and tell them they have to do this. I say, what do you want to do with your life? How do you want to make your life better? There's still two more. So ethic of anti-oppressive practice. So we redress oppression and social exclusion through liberation, emancipation, and enfranchisement. Instead of the opposite of that would be disenfranchisement. So like collaborating with people, you advocate for them, and that means leverage resources to champion the rights of individual cases for a cause. And we see that in the movie we're watching right now. We're halfway through. It's called the documentary The Line. And a lot of folks needed social workers and food pantries, maybe even soup kitchens when they were at their bottom. This movie was made during the Great Recession, and they were at their bottom and needed folks to help empower them, empower themselves. The last two are ethic of collaboration. Is this week 4? Do you guys remember? Is it week
It is
4
week 4.
or 5? Okay.
It's week 4. It's
Okay.
week 5 of living here, week 4 of being in school.
Damn. That means we're like a quarter over already. That's crazy. Okay. What's that? What'd you say? That's okay.
Now
So
we
you-
got 8 more months. Y'all trying to get up out of here.
Oh, you mean till September or till May? Where are you going? Where are you going? I thought you liked,
home for the summer. What you mean?
but the dormitory is your friend.
Yeah, but I gotta go back home. These ain't my friends. These ain't my siblings. No.
Have you brought the kid back into the dorm yet?
No, I need to. I miss my home.
Do they let you guys bring kids in the dorm? Or
They don't be
like,
saying nothing.
okay.
I'm saying he be all up in here like it's our shit.
Some of them, like at some colleges, they had dorms for like family dorms, like if you had kids. Do they have one here? Really?
They
Which
do.
which one is it?
I don't know which one.
They tell me if I can move to the NPCs if I bring my baby.
Yeah, you definitely, if you want, if you like, you should.
No, I ain't moving to
Is it
NPCs.
nicer? Is it nicer over there?
Where NBC, yeah.
They-
They have.
You can't even have company in that motherfucker. What the fuck I look like going over there and I can't have my nigga over here. My nigga live here.
They're like, show me your ID.
They can't have company.
Where?
Yeah, I literally just went to the NPCs last week with this dude and he got right in trouble. He got a fine and everything because I was in there with him.
Isn't that where the workout place is?
That's because it's Mount. Didn't the business they didn't start yet?
Like, it started now.
It
It didn't
is.
start before.
Oh yeah, like it
Well,
just
I love
started.
visitation started. Well, my nigga been staying here.
Is that where the workout facility is? They got like
It actually
the
started this week, though.
treadmills. That's where the treadmills are, right?
Yes, I need to start having meditation. Me personally, I had a.
Well, if you guys recall, this lady named Sheila was a banker. She tripped and fell down the steps in Chicago, smashed her head into her spinal column, had to get surgery. Correct.
Yep.
Correct. And that's what, so she was making $100,000 and then that happened. So like weird stuff happens. The other dude who had his 2 kids was also in banking and then was laid off, made like 6 figures, but the financial collapse happened and he had to go to food bank. So there's different reasons different folks go or come to us as social workers. And we watched the first half of this. So this is just the second half, the last 20 minutes of it. And let's see if it will play for us. There's noise.
This house that we live in now used to belong to my parents. And then when my father passed, the house was just too much for my mother to handle. So my sister, my brother, myself, we all moved out here to live with my mom. And together we made it a community home, which is what, quite often happens when people are trying to, get out of a bad situation. Right after, about a year after my accident, I realized that I would not be the same. And I went on disability. And disability gave me $1,000. I think it was, at that time, it was like $900 a month. I had 3 children. They gave me $900 a month for me. And they gave me $122, I think, for each child. Keep in mind, that's to pay my rent. I had food stamps, but it wasn't a lot. So a lot of times we would run out of food stamps.
It's not that much to me.
Yeah, but it's not as good. So proceed. Giving my children hope, that was the hard part because they went to a private school. So they lived with all these people who were very well, who drove nice cars, whose parents were giving them credit cards to spend carte blanche. And then they came back here and I'm saying, no, we don't buy name brand gym shoes. Nope, we're not going out to eat. We got to do whatever mama's got to cook. It was disappointing from a mother's point because I wanted to give them the best. And I always thought when I had my children, I was going to be able to shower them. That was my desire. As I think most parents, that was my desire, but I wasn't able to do that.
This is the third different case. He's down in Louisiana.
I was born and raised in this little town called Davant, Louisiana, in 1945. Just about everyone in this community had done fishing of one type or another, either crab fishing, shrimping, or oystering, at least part-time. It was a wonderful way to make a living. God gave us a heaven here, a gold mine. It was there for the taking. Anyone that wanted to make a good, honest living could do it. All they needed was a strong back and a little bit of brains. No matter what time of year it was, you were either shrimping, crabbing, dredging oysters. A person that didn't have any work could come to this marina, go by the conveyors where they were unloading in the evening, and hey, I need a job. Okay, show up here tomorrow morning. You had a job. The people of this area, this entire area, depend on the environment. They depend on what God gave us. And God gave us a lot down there, but we didn't know how to take care of it.
Just a falling environment, slowly flowing through my head.
Had someone told me 10 years ago that this place would be this dormant, I'd never believed it. I never would have believed it. But it's happened, and it's happened so quickly. It's just unimaginable. I don't know if it's because of the natural disaster that we had with Katrina or the oil spill. The natural resources are not there anymore. The coastline is washing away. There's places that when I was in high school, we used to go out and hunt rabbits. And now those places don't exist. They're all water. They're gone, completely gone.
Anybody ever eaten oysters before? I haven't either.
It's a minimum, on average, of 3 years before that oyster's ready for the market to be harvested. Next year, there'll be no oysters. For 3 years, there won't be any oysters. And this year, we had a very low harvest of shrimp. So what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't have any confidence in the future. Unless we get a drastic change, a sudden change in the amount of seafood and the prices, there's no way that I can continue this and survive with it. Because all I am doing is losing money. You know? Just can't do it. The numbers don't add up. They just don't add up. Okay. I don't worry about myself that much. It's only just me and Bonnie. We'll survive. But my children, I worry about my children. This community, I've seen a change not only with income, but I can see a change in the people. The people that are still here are not happy anymore. The people were always jolly. They didn't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow was taken care of. And now everyone's worried. They're all stressed. Catholic Charities was here up until last week paying people's utilities for them. They couldn't pay them. And now they're gone. They left last week. So a lot of these families that were dependent on that, they don't even have that now. So in this great United States, believe it or not, we're going to have people down here that are going to have their electricity cut off. And they're going to be living that way. I hope that it gets better.
It's right after the recession,
Being
2011.
realistic, I don't see it.
But it's kind of cycling again. So like what's weird is with economic cycles, it's about every 7 to 9 years we have a recession, and right back at this part where they said the U.S. savings was at $2 trillion a year and a half ago, and right now we are 90% down. So like savings in the bank is at 190 billion, and it was at 2 trillion. So there's kind of a recession. The jobs are coming back. We're at 3.5% unemployment. We're ticking up to 3.8. Gas prices, I think, are the highest they've been since 2014. Have you guys noticed that with gas? Like, it's expensive. And Yeah. So this was 10 years ago, but I think we're cycling back to recessionary time. So it's like every 9 years. You see
Just
that.
a culture, the whole culture is gone.
Anyone been to New Orleans, Louisiana? That's where he was close to. Now this is Charlotte, North Carolina, if you ever been down there. The last one.
Poverty is struggling to make things work. When you have to struggle paycheck to paycheck, it's poverty.
That's
And try to fight yourself out of it, but you can't. You can't. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, with my two sisters and my brother, my mother, and my father, until my father decided to just leave the house and leave us by ourselves, which hurt my mother mentally and got her unstable. We would have never survived if welfare didn't approve us and we were getting food stamps every month. That's not me by myself. I wouldn't have been able to do it, and I had to give up going to college. Went down to the racetrack in New York City with a friend of mine, started hot walking horses coming off the track, and that's where I started working, which was at the racetrack, and turned around and did it for 22 years. It was every day, 365 days a year, and that was it. There was never a day off.
So this stat is true, and you find folks that work 2 or 3 jobs just to make it, just to kind of make ends meet. So it says the working poor are twice as likely as higher wage earners to be willing to give up sleep in order to work. So maybe you're getting up at 5, and on the second job you're getting off at 10 or 11. So you only get 4 to 5 hours of sleep.
I came here to North Carolina after I stopped working at the racetrack. And when you come off of that, everybody's like, okay, so what skill do you have? It's like, you really don't. You know, I had the skill of putting horses on the racetrack. I was in the shelter 3 months. It's a hard thing because North Carolina, the unemployment rate is 9.4. It's one of the highest in the United States. Being in the shelter, I wasn't ashamed of it. I did it on my own. I wasn't there because I used drugs, because I was an alcoholic. I refused to sleep in the street. I wasn't going to get put in jail for sleeping in the street. Every day I used to get up, get dressed, and go out to look for a job and stuff like that. And then when I found out about Jim Noel's restaurant and the church services that they have here, and I introduced myself.
It is a 501c faith-based, not-for-profit restaurant. That's unusual. In fact, there's not been many done like this, I don't think. And it really has 2 parts. One is to help raise money from a nonprofit standing. We give all the profits away to help feed the poor. Secondly, King's Kitchen Restoration Program, which is a discipleship, life-changing program to help people get back on their feet through on-the-job training, obviously, Bible study, discipleship. Even though it's a ministry, we also are a restaurant, and we have to compete, and we have to execute, and we have to run the restaurant right, or the whole thing would fall. And this is not an industry to be in anyway. Restaurant business is tough.
In front of you, beside you. I came here and I volunteered here, and they threw me as a dishwasher. I've never worked in a restaurant before. Cole, we got a 4-time getting up. And it shocked everybody how fast I pick it up. When I put my mind to something that I really want to do, I know I can do it. I'll come with a big tray. Thank you for calling King's Kitchen this afternoon. This is James. How can I assist you? One day, Chef Jesse came up to me. He goes, we all came together. We're hiring you. I said, you kidding? He goes, you start tomorrow. Would you like me to take your plate from you? Is everything okay? Please come back. And when I started working here, they worked with my hours down at the shelter. They saved me a bed. And when I got my first paycheck, I looked in the paper, saw this place, and took the bus down there, filled out the application, and there was a 1-bedroom apartment ready. And that was the last time the shelter saw me. When I got off the bus, I put my hand in my pocket and I had the keys to my own place. And when I opened up the door, you're home. The first thing that I did, I called up my 2 sisters and my brother. And your brother is just fine. Your brother's fine. And my sister goes, you right in the shelter? I said, yep. I said, I got my own place and everything. Adam, these are the only dishes that don't match over here. 8 months later, I'm still here. I'm the head busboy. Please come again. I love working. I don't stop. When I come in the morning, I get here an hour before my shift starts. How you doing? How's everything? My income right now, I would make in a year between about $11,000 to $15,000. People in poverty live in poverty-stricken areas. People who have money don't even go close to where those people live. You think they worry about who's living on the street? No, because they were never part of it. And if you're not part of it, why think about it? Try to climb the ladder by yourself sometimes. It's hard. I don't judge people, and I hope that people don't judge me, and that's how I've always lived.
I think hope is important for people who are in poverty because that's the only thing that's going to stop them from taking a desperate move to make life better. If you have no hope and you don't think Superman's coming, you may jump yourself. And when I say jump, I don't mean killing yourself. I mean making rash decisions and doing things that may be even uncharacteristic for yourself, but because you're so desperate.
We cannot be silent while that happens. We cannot say, oh, well, that's on them. No, systems need to be broken to stop poverty too. Policy needs to change in order to stop poverty. And there need to be people in place who can properly change policy to help poverty. At the same time, there are people who need to know that there's a way out of this and need to know that they are more than their poverty. Because I believe that if we tell people that they are better than they think they are, that they will do better than they think they can.
This is not the end of our lives. We will shine like stars.
Every other day, you'll see like gang violence going on outside of the school or kids fighting. But what really keep me calm is either drawing or playing basketball.
We bring young people in, and most of them have already either dropped out or are in situations where they're not doing well in school.
Where I come from.
This component is around adding creativity to their life, creativity and dignity, the 2 key words here, and saying, okay, you have not only something to learn in terms of math and science towards getting your GED, but you have a story to tell. You've seen something. And what I want to do is help you tell that story. We want to help you tell that story because once you can tell that story, you can own your life. You own your identity. So helping them to tell those stories is one way of giving them hope in the midst of what they're going through. Poor is not what you are. Poor is part of what you are, and it's a situation that can change.
This is not the end. This is not the end of this. You'll open my eyes wide, wider. This is not our loss. This is not our last parade. We will open
I started a nonprofit called Born to Be Light, and I came up with a pledge. Born to Be Light is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the aggressive promotion of nonviolence. And they take the pledge, and the pledge is right on the front, and it says, I wear this band to take a stand against violence. I pledge to be the change you see in my home and community because I'm a light. So I go around to the schools and communities and functions, and I have the people wear the bands. I have them take the pledge, and it works. It really works. So I'm not just sitting back waiting for somebody to give me something. I'm trying to help myself. I'm trying to help my community. I understand that people might look at me and say, well, you're getting a handout. You're on disability. But I promise you, if I could be anything but on disability, I would. And I've done everything that I can do to make myself better. I've written a book. I've gone back to school. I've done a CD. I do outreach programs. I do everything that I'm supposed to do. So the fact that I'm still on disability is through no fault of mine. But since my accident, I haven't had one day that I haven't had pain, but it hasn't stopped me from going to school and being on the dean's list and a president's scholar. It hasn't stopped me.
This is not the end. This is not the end of us. We will shine like stars.
I'm doing mechanics, I'm working, I do computers, I do art and music. I'm doing fire safety to try to become a fireman. Though I am poor, I do not consider myself poor because I feel like as long as there's a person watching over me, as long as I'm connected with my family, and as long as my legs and body work and I'm able to go out and make some money, there's no way that I will feel poor.
So the U.S. cut the poverty rate in half in the 50s and the 60s. And so they're saying if we could cut it in half again, let's do it. 14%. What do you guys think is the number one thing you can do to get out of poverty? Like, what's the number one thing you as a person can do to guarantee an income that would be certain?
Personally or just in general?
You could go with both.
I don't know anything like in general, but specifically, I know that I can always have a job because I got my certificate in auto mechanic.
Oh yeah.
I know I'm always having cars and stuff. Or just, if you have a gift in baking or something, whatever you're good at, selling it.
You said that, yeah. Yeah, so to have, well, the number one thing, and I'll show you, and I never would have thought this, but you always hear it and you're like, oh, whatever, I could do, there's some charts that were pretty good looking in terms of the images. And I think they say with the college degree, earnings over a lifetime is a good million, which I guess would make sense because that would be like 33,000 a year times 30 years of work, and that's $1 million. And then without that college degree, it's a bit lower. And so, but as you mentioned, the auto mechanic one, I remember you saying that the first week of class, and they say most folks that are affected by poverty are actually children. Why do you think that is? Why are children the most affected by poverty?
They don't have a job. Or because they're like, it's different when you're an adult because you can work.
You can go out and get a job. You can
but
go out
also
and
when you're
work
growing up,
80 hours a week. But when you're a kid, you don't have that choice. Like you have to be, what, 14 or 15 to get a job now? Or it's like a certain age that they cut it off. So there's a really good one just about growing up poor in America. And the folks we serve as social workers. And I'm not going to get into this one, but it's for next time. But it was a frontline series just about poverty and how we serve folks. But finishing this degree, as much as I struggled with it myself, I talk about times when I wasn't fully devoted and even distracted, maybe more interested in playing around. And I had a 0.59 GPA about my sophomore year. And then I realized like it was entirely up to me. Like it's going to be your self-motivation, your self-work to get it done and focus and finish. And it's just so challenging only because there is so many cool distractions. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff out there to like pull you astray from like, pull you back into whatever else is going on. And it's just so important to stand the line and keep it up. And I'm sure you guys hear it all the time. I just wanted to kind of reemphasize that. And we'll watch this one next time. But any questions?
People don't realize what they have until it's gone.
Any questions? I wonder what this new Chrome is. I hate that. We'll see what it is. Any thoughts about the movie documentary, like the poverty? Anybody else see this cycle of recession coming back? Like you've seen it harder to pay for things or to survive out there? Or you're not seeing it yet? Some people see it differently. Like, I guess it depends on how we live too, is you can also live very simply and make it off of a different amount of money than what other folks do. When I lived in El Salvador and Nicaragua, I feel like that's where I forced myself to learn beans and rice, and that's what I started. That's when I became vegetarian. Thank you. Anybody else need the sign-in sheet? That side? Okay. Okay. Well, here it is.
Our whole road is
What's that?
Our whole road is
You wholly rolled it?
She said her whole world is fine.
Oh, that row. Well, it's still here. What classes do you all have next?
English.
Your favorite, right? It's your favorite. Math and English.
No, we got English.
Those are 4 credit hours, aren't they? English.
That'd be.
4 and 5.
Some
almost?
that'd be counting around this motherfucker. We just going to class and just going for life.
It is just the first few weeks. We're done with the first few weeks. It is week 4. You could finish college in 3, 3.5, or 4 years. Your choice. I think I took 5. What's that?
Some people be in college for 6 years.
They need it?
No, some people be in college.
I took 5. I did get 2 majors out of it, but I took 5 years because I wasn't focused my first 2 years. 5 years is forever. And the cost, because it's not like it's free for that extra year. That's the crappy part. So, but turning it around and getting it done, especially at a degree where you could go towards advanced standing, like we were saying, Here's your focus for the next 3.5 or 4 years, depending on how fast you guys are doing it. They had to finish this side. And then you'll take these. Anybody in social welfare yet? Are you taking intro to social welfare already, or you take that next semester? And then we have human behavior 1 and 2 and the practice courses. And you'll take those alongside your requireds. But there's your magic number. You do 15 every semester and you're done right on time. 3.5 years from now, you'll graduate. Does this seem like forever?
Yes.
I thought that when I did it, and now I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. I should be walking with a cane. But you guys, anybody else? Sign on in.
Can you pass the star?
And we'll give you back 11 minutes of your life so you can do what you need. Start on your paper early if you want.